Morning, beautiful people. Hope you're all doing well. I'm doing wonderful. I'm a little bit chilly. I've just had to put the heating bang up because I've just realised it was only on number 2. Dan's gone off for a bike ride, so I thought, okay, this will give me an opportunity to do this video now. For quite some time, I had been saying in the past who would like to hear a really scary story. Everyone thinking it was like ghost related and stuff. I never sort of said what it was. And I really wanted to tell it, but I didn't. There's obviously lots of reasons why. Because this is actually a true story. I don't lie. This is how it truly went. But the only thing is, I'm no good at saying it in a story sense. You know, I've seen vlogs and stuff where the girls are like, tell their story, and they're really good at telling stories. I'm just going to say how it happened and some incidences about it. So back in the day, it would have been, what year would it have been? About 2000. This all started, back in about 2000. So I'm going to try and refresh my memory. I've written down some bits to sort of refresh my memory to how it sort of went, because this was over a long period of time. So I was trying to remember, you know, certain incidences back till then. So this is actually my stalker story. All right, and it gives me chills to even say that word. So I really am still unsure whether I really want to do this video. I really don't want this a repeat of this. This went on for years and years and years, about 17, 18 years, and it was horrendously scary for me. So yeah, like I said, it all started back in about 2000. I had a downstairs flat, so that's where it all started. Now, I can't tell stories about it because I don't know, I can't put it into a story. So I'm just going to run through some like sort of incidences that happened. So back in them days anyway, it all started, come night time, I'd have people knocking, a particular person knocking on my bedroom window, which was at the back. I had a big garden at the back. I had my own garden, even though I had a flat. And then they'd be knocking on the front windows and stuff like that. And then one night, just sitting there having a laugh with a few friends and stuff like that. Oh, this is really difficult because it's not only emotional, it's trying to think of it as well. And then one night, then I always remember having a laugh in there, and I came out to the hallway to go for a wee. All the hallway and kitchen lights and everything were off, just the living room light was on, and straight down the hallway you can see then straight down to my back door. And God forbid, there was this big black silhouette man standing at my back door, and we were giggling and laughing, you know, having a few drinks, whatever we were doing. And all of a sudden then I turned around, I was like, telling me, it was actually my ex-husband and a good friend, family friend of ours, so I'm not going to be saying names and stuff like that. So anyway, I was telling them, my ex-husband, I was like, you know, so, you know, I was like this, trying to explain what I've just seen at the door. And then they were laughing, saying, no, you didn't. There was this man standing at the door, and he ran from that end to that end. Now, by doing so, he couldn't have left the garden. He would have had to have left the garden by going that way. So he must have then hopped over like a 7-foot fence, basically. So my ex-husband went running out and nobody there. But this was going on for quite some time, even before my ex-husband was sort of involved with me as well. I was getting knocks on the windows and stuff like that, really late at night, like 3, 4 in the morning. So it turned out then I had to even have my cousin come and sleep over for the night. So it was lovely to have him there. But that on this then particular night, nothing happened, just so happened to be. So it all started back in my flat. And don't get me wrong, there was probably more incidences to this. Moving on then, moved house, 2002, moved to a new house. So there's me thinking, oh, okay, this is all going to stop. And now I'm with my husband, properly with my husband, and been with him since 2000, 2001 or whatever. And yeah, and it didn't stop. It was horrendous. It was almost like, oh, I can't even go into, I don't even know where to start with it. Again, I'd be getting the knocks on the windows. We'd had this massive gate. It weren't like your usual back gate, a normal size. This was an extra sort of large one. Not enough to fit a car through, but, you know, maybe let's say a wheelchair or so to say, a big gate. And behind that big gate, I used to keep like my exercise bike. There weren't no shifting that gate. Absolutely no shifting that gate. Every now and again, then I'd come home, the gate was pushed open, right all the way opened. There was even signs then of somebody breaking into my kitchen window. You could see the crowbar marks, which was funny enough because I was only talking to Dan about that actually the other day. So that's a coincidence that I'm now bringing up again. Quite a lot happened there as well. But then it started turning into the point then, things were happening when my husband wasn't there. It was almost like somebody must have known our situation, you know, like whether he was there, not there and stuff like that, you know, whether he was at work and whether I was alone at night, because my ex-husband did actually go out a lot. He loved going out on the night on the town, you know, with the boys, with the lads, you know, so he did this every weekend, you know, fine with that. You know, having a bit of fun with the lads. I didn't really go out in them days. I never really did. It was once in a blue moon I would. And it was almost like the activity built up more so when he wasn't there. So let's move on from that one. And let's now move on then to the next house. So left that house then, moved into that house about 2002. Left that house about, oh, I don't know, 2007 or something. I'm not sure. So yeah, anyway, moving on then to my final house. This is the final house, the house then that I sold to actually buy this. Now this is when then things started kicking up a little bit more. So you got to remember, my story isn't very well here, and it's sounding like, oh, I'm over imagining things, I'm, you know, why am I relating it to the same person and stuff like this. There's lots of things in my head that I know I can't sort of get out there and speak about to why I know this. But it's not that I'm holding anything back. I'm not holding nothing back. But there's just more to it than it was all the similar cases, and this went on and on and on. So anyway, coming on then to my final house. Oh, then we had another massive, huge gate. I want just bigger than your average back gate. Always kept that locked, which then if you went through the back gate, it brings you straight directly to my front door. Basically, it's really weird to explain. It brings you straight to my front door. And to get to my back gate was easy because we had a drive, but we never locked the gates on the drive. It was just easy. Anyone could have walked into the drive, into the back garden, and straight then through the back gate, which led you then to the front door. Which, don't get me wrong, they could have gone to the back door, but I'm just talking about the gate here. Constantly, forever, like me ex would be like, you know, have you unlocked that gate again? I'll be like, no, I haven't unlocked the gate. And this gate kept unlocking this happened all the time. It just kept on, and he knew it really wasn't me because I couldn't even lock it, let alone unlock it. It was really stiff. You had to do something certain, and it was a big heavy gate. You had to do something certain to it. Even he would have struggled to have locked it and unlocked it. So we always knew once it was locked, it was locked. No one needed to ever go through that gate. None of us as a family. And we just knew it was hard to lock and unlock. Turns out anyway, then I started noticing like cigarette butts hovering around like near that gate and my front door. Cigarette butts that we knew wasn't our cigarettes, different brand roll-ups, there were roll-ups and stuff like that. We knew they weren't ours. They were hovering around like near my front door. And then there was another time then my husband was at work, and then I had flowers put on the front door. Don't get me wrong, it weren't a bunch of flowers. It was like something that had just been picked out of the garden or something. A few little flowers placed on my front doorstep. Now that was a bit weird. I was going to say something a bit naughty then. Footprints. We'd noticed footprints as well. And my husband, I swear, he must have beginning to think that I was having another man round the house. I mean, luckily enough, he knew that wasn't the case. But there's so many incidences, you know, with the butts and footprints, big man footprints leading up to this gate and stuff like that. And yeah, it was just getting a bit out of hand. It really was. Don't get me wrong, there's been other little things as well, but I'm trying to think. So let me get back to this, have a quick memorise again to what came next after that. Oh yeah, back gate always seemed to get unlocked, but not by us. So there was one day anyway, I remember it was about, I don't know, 3, 4 in the morning. Now, our toilet was actually downstairs. It was a pain. It was just a toilet. We had a separate toilet downstairs and a separate bathroom. The bath and shower was downstairs. So when we were upstairs, we had to walk downstairs in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom and get a drink or whatever. Get a drink? Go to the toilet anyway. So I got about 3-ish, something like that, to come down for a wee-wee. And went to the toilet, pitch black. You know, I knew the house back to front. I never had to put lights on. So just walked straight down the corridor. But at one end of the corridor now is my front door, next to the gate. Remember this now. So turned the corner, go wee-wee. Came back up, come round the corner. So basically, before I get to the bottom of the stairs, I'm now facing the front door. And all of a sudden, I was stunned. And this big red flash flashed through my front door, and it was like I could see someone, and it was like he'd taken a photo. Somebody had taken a photo or something of me, and I'm not being funny, right? I'm going up and downstairs, right? I wore not next to nothing going to bed. Probably next to nothing, probably just literally in my underwear. And I'm nipping downstairs. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. Who do I think's looking through my windows at 3 in the morning? You know, so basically I've got next to nothing on, and I saw this big red flash come through it was like it came through the letterbox, I want to say. So anyway, that totally freaked me out, and I was really on edge at this point. And I after all the small little incidences and stuff like that, I thought I can't cope with that. I cannot cope with this. So we started setting up like wire traps and stuff like this. We started setting up little traps, both of us knowing that the gate was locked, putting traps there. And then we actually got CCTV, and we hid the CCTV. Didn't capture anything though. I must have been too late with that or something, I don't know, or unless if it just weren't in range or something, I don't know. Right, let me just go back to this. Yeah, so anyway, nothing had actually happened to the traps, which was unusual. But anyway, at the point we'd done the traps anyway. Right, let me just go prior to the traps. So yeah, so going back to my night vision CCTV camera, actually my twin sister also had access to that, so she'd be God knows where in her house, and she'd be watching my CCTV as well, because not only was I having this stalker issue, I know it don't sound too bad to some people at this prior moment, but it really was. It was quite tormenting. It was just them little things, and I'd never felt safe in the house, because either my husband was at work or he was out on the town with the boys, you know, so I was practically there on my own all the time with the kids. And yeah, and also why my sister had access to my thingy, because my CCTVs, because basically my house used to be a bit haunted as well. I had some weird stuff going on in my house, but that's another story. I'm not talking about that. So anyway, my husband then right, I need to get this bit right, so let me just read this a bit a minute. Oh yeah, no, this was another incident, yeah. So anyway, got a knock on the door, front door, about 3 in the morning again. But my husband hadn't gone out that night. We were in bed. And for some reason, I just ran down and answered the door. And for the love of money, why the hell I thought to myself to go and answer the door to anyone at 3 in the morning? I think it was because it was a big loud bang, and I felt like it sounded like a serious bang. So I went down. It actually was the police, and this was about 3 a.m. And he came over, and he kept. There was a couple of policemen there, and they kept saying, "Does so and so live here? We're looking for so and so." And we were like, "Who?" We were like, "No," and they were like. It was almost like they didn't believe us anyway, so we just left it. It's like went back to bed. About half an hour again later, about 2 or 3 times later anyway. This happened about 2 or 3 times. They came back 2 or 3 times, and in the end we had to prove that who lived in the house. It was just us. We didn't know this guy, and we have no idea what the story was on that one, to why they kept thinking that this guy lived in my house. So anyway, yeah, we had to then prove it. So anyway, a little while later, months later or whenever, I don't know, I'm losing time scale here. My husband went to Menorca with the boys, lads' holiday, and I was there all alone with the kids for a full week. My ex-husband having a great time, you know, stuff like that, and he comes back, and then a week after he comes back, we then had a policeman coming knocking on my door. All right, let me have a look. Yes, so we had then the policeman come knocking on my door. Now, this is a week after my husband comes back. Now, apparently, the Saturday when my husband had left for Menorca, there was an incident that the police had caught a man looking through my windows. Now, apparently he looked really suspicious. He told them once again, the policeman, that he lived there, and apparently then they believed him because he got keys out trying to pretend to get into the door and that. Now, this was about 3 o'clock in the morning on the Saturday that my husband had left for Menorca, so I was there alone. Now, did this person know I was there alone? I don't know, obviously, by the seams of it. But we only got told this then a week after my husband coming back. So in a way, I'm kind of glad I didn't know this, because if I'd known this while my husband was away, I just couldn't have stayed there. I would have had to have gone to a hotel or something. I couldn't have stayed there on my own. So anyway, let me just refresh myself. Right, Dan's back now, so I'm going to keep it down a little bit. So yes, so that the week after my husband got back from Menorca, the police had came to ask me about this incident prior to 2 weeks earlier, and I was fuming. I was like, why didn't you come and knock and at least tell me about any of this? So at this point, they came in the house, they sat down, and I told them then all about what I've been going through the last 17 years with this stalker. And I kept saying to them, do you think this is all related? And they didn't seem to believe it was, but me and my husband thought it was. We just had this, we just knew because of the same incidences and stuff like that. So while the police was there also, my husband then decides to turn around and tell the police an incident that he'd experienced, but he never told me because he didn't want to freak me out. So there was one night then, what he told the policeman, one night he came home from the pub. He used to roll in about 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. So he rolled home and he came to the front door for this, which is next to this gate. So he comes rolling home, staggering home, down the pathway, down to my front door, about to let himself in. And then I wanted to swear then. And then anyway, by Jesus of God, there was a man standing there next to the gate with trying to hide, like next to the gate. So my husband was like, you know, and he chased him then. Apparently he chased him all the way down, out through all the way back down at the bottom of our drive and out to the back square. And yeah, but he never ever told me this. And I said to him, thank God you didn't think I'd had a man round or something, because it could have come across like that. Not that, you know, that was never nothing I ever done in my relationship ever, but he could have thought like that, couldn't he? You know, he comes home from the pub and there's a guy standing there next to the blimmin' gate, you know. So yeah, that was absolutely scary. But that story didn't come out until the police was sitting on my sofa telling us then that 2 weeks prior they'd caught a man snooping through our windows, through the front living room windows and through the door, and then apparently putting the key up to the door, pretending he was trying to get into the door. Oh, so anyway, let me see what else I've got written here as well. Now, I know there's not much more happening after this. Right, let me just catch up on my little notes. Yes, so it's kind of sort of ended there, because then not long after that then, basically, my relationship, we broke up with my relationship ended, and then things were totally different in the house. I had to then put CCTV around in the garden. That's when then the CCTV came into it, actually, not earlier on. But yeah, but it was horrendous. But it was almost like somebody must have known me and my partner's situation, because it was technically a lot of the time when my husband weren't even there. And, you know, you were seeing like cigarette butts and stuff like that, and flowers, and stuff had been done to the car and stuff like this. So, you know, there was lots more smaller incidences. It isn't just what I'm saying. There was lots more smaller incidences, but it's just thinking of them, because it all builds into one. And yeah, it was absolutely horrendous. All my family knew about it. I didn't really tell friends or anyone, because I wanted to keep that, you know, just in case it was really literally just sort of my family and that. And sorry about that quick battery change. Yeah, so that's my story with my stalker. And then not long after the last incident with the police and everything, like I'm saying, you know, things sort of changed in the family, and I think it took a bit of a toll as well. I do think it took a bit of toll on us as a family. And then the house just went straight up for sale. Couldn't wait to get out of that house at all. I always felt bad vibes in there. I mean, not only just with everything, with the stalkery business going on, it just wasn't a very nice house. So I was glad to get out of that. So yeah, that's my little incident with having a stalker. Like I said, I couldn't necessarily put it into a story as such, but I had a lot of incidences, and, you know, like getting up at 3 a.m, half butt naked, and somebody's taking a photo of you through your letterbox. You know, stuff like that. And then even your husband catches a man at your gate, and the police even catching men at your windows trying to get into your door. Anyway, yeah, it's always been a period of my life where I've just wanted to forget about it, and just I've moved on now. I've not had anything like it since, and I hope it doesn't start up again. And yeah, a bit of a rough time that was. But it was weird. Like I said, it always seemed to get worse when they knew my husband wasn't there. Like the time he was going to Menorca. Who would have known that? I mean, I'm sure some of the people on the estate would have known that, you know. Chat gets around, you know, all the boys are off to Menorca for the week, you know, lads holiday, you know, or lads are going out on the town tonight, you know. I'm sure that talk gets around. But anyway, I'm out of that circumstance now. I'm out of that situation now, and thank the Lord. And yeah, my husband was so supportive as well, and not actually assumed that never assumed that anything was ever happening, even though he caught a man at me gate and men's fag butts on the floor and stuff like that. And it was just nice to have him as to be supportive. Right, anyway, I'm going to wrap this one up because it's really long. Just a quick long story there about me stalker. And if you're going through the same incidents or anything like that, let me know, and let me just know how you cope with it. And, you know, and all I can advise is go to the police. I wouldn't put up with none of it. I'll nip it in the bud as soon as it starts. Right, I'm going to love you and leave you here because I've got to get on with my day, and I've already made one vlog already today. So this is my second. Right, I'm going to love you and leave you. Take care. Bye.